we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Are there any comments on the minutes? There being no comments, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Yankovich.
Yes.
Mr. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Dossier.
Yes.
Mr. Stafford.
Yes.
Ms. Reed. Yes.
Under old business, we have an applicant here, who has requested that his meeting, or their meeting be adjourned until September 18th.
Yeah, so this is for application 55-61 High Street, it's application number 2023-4. It's for the property located at 55-61 High Street. It's in B1 zone, block 50, lot 7. It's an application for D-use variance and request for a waiver from having to submit a site plan application. They're going to update the plans, I believe, and submit additional items. They've requested an adjournment to the next meeting date, which is currently scheduled for September 18th. That may also be adjourned to a regular different meeting date, but it's not gonna be heard tonight. Anyone who's interested in that matter, is being adjourned to September 18th, and there may be further adjournments. Is there a motion to accept the request for adjournment?
Motion to accept.
That it tolls time to close out.
Second.
Can I discuss that? Is that going to be renoticed? Because we'll have to renotice.
It goes to a special meeting. It goes to a special meeting and also, get whether this is one that had notice issues. And the notice issues, the D3, yes, we do have the notice.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So there'll be notice of this application, but it's not on tonight.
So I have Mr. DeFalco go first. Second. Mr. Yankovich.
Yes.
Mr. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Dossier.
Yes.
Mr. Stafford.
Yes.
Ms. Reed. Yes.
That concludes all business. Under new business, application number 2023-3, site locations, Variance Request. Pallante LLC. Preliminary and major final site plan. The applicant is requesting the subdivided tract of 7 lots, 6 lots for use. Construction of 3 sets of proposed twin, single family homes, side-by-side duplexes. Lot 7 will be an open space proposed to be dedicated to the town.
So this one is the one that, has a D3 variance, and they did not notice for that, so they requested that the matter be adjourned. They have additional materials that have to be submitted to meet some completeness issues. So they requested a adjournment to September 18th, possibly to October 2nd, so that one will have to be renoticed. Mr. McAndrew will be in touch with the board secretary. So anyone interested in this application, 2023-3, Pallante LLC, for Grand Street is a subdivision for block 41.03, lot 16. That will not be heard tonight, and there'll be new notice provided to anyone interested in that application. Is there a motion to accept the adjournment request?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Yankovich.
Yes.
Mr. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Dossier.
Yes.
Mr. Stafford.
Yes.
Ms. Reed. Yes.
Also under new business, application number 2023-5, site location 601 High Street. Applicant Mount Holly Enterprise LLC. Lot 127, lot 1.04 in the B4 zone, final site plan approval. The applicant is requesting final site plan to demolish the building, to build a new Taco Bell in a new 2,555 square foot
evening, everyone. My name is Damian Del Duca. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Mount Holly Enterprises LLC. I have with me my client, Joseph DiPasquale, and our civil engineer, Brian Cleary with Pettit Group. And as your counsel mentioned, we're here for 601 High Street, which is currently occupied by a Taco Bell restaurant. I have on the easel an exhibit that I've marked as Exhibit A1, and we're handing out smaller copies of the 3 exhibits that I have. And Exhibit A1 is an aerial which shows the property. It's at the northeast corner, if you will, at the intersection of High Street and the Mount Holly bypass. It's an existing Taco Bell. It's block 127, lot 1.04, and the proposal is to demolish the existing Taco Bell restaurant with a drive-through, rebuild it with a new state-of-the-art Taco Bell building with a dual drive-through, which is what you see now with fast casual restaurants where you'll have dual drive-through lanes, because most of the customers are drive-through customers, and the dual drive-through lane will help service them more efficiently. And in addition, a retail building of 2,522 square feet behind or generally to the north or east of the proposed Taco Bell. We were here before this spring in March, at which time this board granted preliminary major site plan approval with various variances, and we are back tonight for the single purpose of obtaining final major site plan approval. The property's in the B4 zoning district, the use is permitted, and again, we're only back for final. The sole purpose of final site plan approval under the laws of New Jersey is to confirm that we've satisfied the conditions of the preliminary site plan approval. Since this preliminary site plan approval was granted, our engineer, Mr. Cleary, has gone through the review letters from ERI and Mr. Alimo's office, and gone through and attempted to satisfy all the review comments. We have new review letters from ERI dated June 30th, and from Alimo dated August 14th. And those letters confirm generally that we have complied with the conditions of preliminary, with a few what I believe to be minor exceptions. We have no objections to the comments in those 2 review letters that I mentioned, and we would agree that complying with the remaining open comments in those letters would be conditions of approval. Mr. Cleary is going to provide some very brief testimony in a moment as to a couple things that he was asked to provide testimony on. We are also waiting for several outside agency approvals, including the Mount Holly MUA, New Jersey American Water, which we acknowledge we would have to obtain prior to commencing construction. Mr. Alimo's letter asks if we have the fire officials' approval. We have asked for that review. We have not yet received comments or approval, and we'll continue to pursue that until we get it. So the exhibits that you have are Exhibit A1. Exhibit A2 is a zoomed-in version of an aerial with the proposed site plan shown in color. It's the same plan that was submitted with our application. Although there's some color, it shows the Taco Bell in the front along High Street. It shows the proposed retail in the back. The proposed retail building, we do not have a tenant yet. I say retail. I'm generically referring to it as retail, and that's what it says on the plan. The B4 zoning district in which this is located permits any use that sells goods, services that will be consumed on site. So we don't know who that tenant will be. When we have a tenant, we will of course obtain building permits to build the building for that tenant. We're obviously assuming the footprint that's shown in this plan. We do not have architectural elevations for that building because we don't have a tenant yet, and depending upon who the tenant is, may dictate exactly what that building looks like. So we will deal with that in the future. So this site plan is the same plan that you approved in March. The only changes in the plans relate to the conditions of approval and the comments in the letters. We haven't made any other changes that I'm aware of that changes what you already approved. So this is just a final run-through, if you will, with this board to confirm that we are consistent with and compliant with the preliminary site plan approval that you granted in March and memorialized in a resolution that was adopted on April 17, 2023. And for the record, that was Resolution P 2023-09. And then the final exhibit that we have is Exhibit A3, which is the color architectural, rendered elevations. It shows the Taco Bell building that we're going to build. It may not be exactly as shown in Exhibit A3, but it will certainly be substantially consistent with that. This is what it will look like, certainly gives you the look and feel. Obviously, we'll have to get construction permits for that. This is the same that we showed you, I believe, in March. None of the operations that were testified to in March have changed, so nothing new as far as the Taco Bell is concerned. So unless anybody has any questions for me, I've got very brief testimony from Mr. Cleary, just to address a couple of comments in the review letters, and of course, you can answer any questions that the board or your professionals may have. So we'll have Mr. Cleary sworn, if we could, please.
Mr. Cleary, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
I do.
And Mr. Cleary, I believe, has been accepted as an expert in site engineering by several prior
Yes.
testimony for this application.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Cleary, did you prepare the plan that's marked as Exhibit A2 on the easel?
Yes, I did.
And did you testify before this board in March?
Yes, I did.
You're familiar with the site, surrounding conditions, and the proposed changes?
Yes.
Were you here for my introductory comments?
Yes.
Were they factually accurate?
Yes.
So no changes to the plans other than as necessary to address the conditions of preliminary site plan?
Correct.
And to the best of your knowledge, have we addressed all of the conditions of preliminary site plan other than those few items listed in the two review letters that I identified?
I believe so.
Okay. In Mr. Alimo's letter dated August 14th on page 3, and I believe in ERI's letter as well, they note that the turning template that was submitted showed wheels of the truck crossing over a curb at the entrance. Can you address that comment, please?
Yes, I didn't catch that before it went out. It was just not a drafting error, but an error on my part before sending it out. I rewrapped the truck template. There's no issue with it. When we resubmit plans, it'll have an updated template along with the fire truck template.
Which will show that trucks exiting the site will not cross the curb?
Correct.
Okay. And then there was a question or a comment, number 9 on page 3 of Mr. Alimo's letter, that states that the location of the roof downspouts for the retail building should be shown in the architectural plans. Revised architectural plans will be provided. Now, I said for the retail building, maybe it applies to both buildings, I'm not sure. Can you address that comment, Mr. Cleary?
So we can show them for the Taco Bell. We know exactly where they will be. We don't know where they'll be for the retail building. However, I will show a connection coming across the drive-through lane that will allow when that building is constructed to connect into that pipe, which connects to a 15-inch pipe running along the length of the drive-through lane. So we'll be able to provide something, the best we can for a building that hasn't been designed yet.
So for the building to be designed, the retail building, you'll be able to show where the leaders will connect into, so, and then that water will go into the stormwater system, correct?
Yes,
We don't know where the leaders will be, but we know the pipe that they will go into.
yes.
Okay. There was a question about asking us to confirm that the construction materials, colors, and lighting proposed for the sign package that was approved at preliminary hasn't changed. Can you address that?
It has not changed.
And it'll be the typical Taco Bell signage?
Yes.
And consistent with what this board approved?
Yes.
Have you reviewed the two review letters that I identified?
Yes, I have.
Do we agree to comply with any conditions in those letters?
The only one that, well, I guess we will comply with, but I just would like some feedback, has to do with the building lighting. There's no proposed site building lights. The only lights that'll be on the building will be decorative sconces or lights like that. So whatever's on the building really won't change the dynamics of the site lighting. So we don't know exactly what's gonna go on the retail building, and the Taco Bell building has very little lighting on it, so we don't feel like it's necessary to show on these plans. That's the only minor issue I have with the review letters that I was just requesting clarification on.
Well, I mean, the lights that are on the building, are they not providing lighting for the sidewalks?
Very minimal. They're not, they're just minor decorative sconces.
Okay. So, the other issue is then the type of sconce and how they're emitting light, are they going down?
Yes.
Are they emitting these kind of like LED strips that are blaring out?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to look at the plan again, to make sure that the lighting on the sidewalk has, satisfactory illumination on without these sconces. If that's the case, then, it's.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Mr. Clear, I think the last question I have is, I know at the time of preliminary, there were questions and there were members of the public that appeared with concerns related to stormwater.
Yes.
And is it correct that these plans continue to have the improvements that will address the stormwater concerns that were addressed or discussed at preliminary?
Yes, so the biggest concern, the reason why we only got preliminary was we didn't have sufficient soil testing done at the time of the previous meeting. We had additional soil testing done, it provided the results we were expecting with the initial testing. We tested deeper and at different locations. It shows that the proposed stormwater management system can be designed to meet the current state standards. And we still have some minor comments to address in Mr. Alano's review letter. However, generally, the stormwater management system meets the state standards.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for Mr. Clear, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for the planner?
Just one clarification on that retail building. I know you said there's no tenant right now, but I think in the last meeting, you pretty much said you were gonna match the Taco Bell facades and just, so it's at least complementary. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact.
Yeah,
Just so
it helps that, well, we'll pull the Taco Bell back up. Aside from really, like, the purples in it, it's a fairly neutral building.
Right.
So it'll be pretty easy to match it up. Now, if it ends up being like an 18D, you're obviously gonna have the oranges with that. So it may not be perfect complement, but it really depends on the final tenant.
So I think we can agree to a condition that the buildings will be complementary.
Right.
The colors may not be
Right. Doesn't have to be
consistent
exact.
based
Yeah.
on branding. But we'll make the architecture, or at least the color and the finishes of the building complementary, so that we don't have an apple and an orange, so to speak.
My only other comment that wasn't addressed is the deciduous shrubs along the
Yeah.
property lines. If you mix in some evergreens, just a little contrast and something like carry
Yeah.
through the winter.
Yep, no issue with that.
And we can talk about it
Yeah.
later if you want. That's it for me. Everything else is good.
So, this would be subject to the new non-residential, improvement fee, 2.5% of the equalized assessed value. The applicant's aware of that, so they're on.
Well, let me put it to you this way, we'll agree to comply with the applicable non-residential development fee. I'd like to tell you there's a chance it may change, but it probably won't, so certainly whatever's in effect will pay. When you have existing improvements, you actually only have to pay 2.5 on the difference in the equalized assessed value. So, but we'll certainly work with the township to pay whatever we owe.
Well, equalized assessed value of the difference in the improvements, so you've already.
Right.
You're already paying tax now, but so if you have an improvement worth $10 million, then you'll pay the.
Yeah, if it's $1 million today and 10 million
10
improvements,
tomorrow.
you're gonna pay 2.5 of the $9 million difference.
Correct.
So whatever the law requires, we will satisfy.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's in effect at adoption, at approval tonight.
Well, you're right, it's absolutely the law today, and I don't expect it to change.
So,
But if it,
as of 7/20, we are not aware of any changes.
no, but in the past, it's changed after I've gotten approvals and, but it's suspended it. I guess I'm an optimist, but no issues there whatsoever.
Great, thank you.
Questions or comments from members of the board? Just one question for me. Good evening. With the second building that's going up, I don't remember, and I may have forgotten, but I don't remember seeing any type of signage plans moving forward. Is there any indication on if it's 18, you're not gonna want some logo on the side of the, sort of be seen from that roadway there? Do you have any plans to add any additional signage to advertise the rear building and what may go there?
So my expectation, and Mr. DePascal will correct me if I'm wrong, is when we identify a tenant, we'll either comply with the ordinance as to signs or seek a separate sign variance at that time. And every tenant's different, so rather than ask for sign variances now, and frankly, sign variances will probably be necessary. But we'd only like to ask one time, so we'll have to wait and see what that tenant requests.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Stand up and state your name and address.
Bernie Swain. My property
What's
is
your address?
716 Holly Lane. We're directly right behind.
Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Nothing but the truth. Yes.
Could you step forward a little bit so we can hear you?
I can't hear you very well. I'm concerned about the drainage retention because they're on a much higher elevation than my lot. And if that drainage elevation, that drainage retention pond change, that water will flood in, it's about 40 inches. That water will come right down into my little teeny yard and make it a swimming pool and then go into my basement window. So they're gonna be, I saw them up there the day they were doing some work, putting some, but I can't tell. Is that retention basin gonna remain the way it is now?
No, so the current retention basin is in very poor shape, and it will be completely cleaned out, expanded, with changes made to the outlet control structure, so that the basin can accommodate all flows going. So I can't guarantee that it will never overflow, but we have designed it to meet all of the state requirements.
That's gonna be just flat now, no basin?
No, there will still be a basin there,
Okay.
but the one right now is in disrepair, it's not functioning correctly.
Maybe on the trees.
It will be completely cleaned out and reconstructed
Okay.
and enlarged.
Like I said, you're about this much higher elevation than my little lot. And if the rain comes and the water, and it comes, it's gonna run right down, and then I have a little swimming pool, and then it'll right into my basement. So that's what I'm concerned about. I don't care what you're building, I don't care what color, I'm just concerned about what's the effect on my property.
Oh, I completely understand. We will be improving everything that is happening on this property, including stormwater management.
Now, are you gonna be taking care of all those dead trees that are falling in my yard? 3 this year, and I have pictures too. One is about 36 inches, I have a little one story, it's hanging 36 inches from my house. Now, I'm in the yard and they're falling. I have to get someone to come and chainsaw it because I can't, they're dead. They've been there. I've owned the house for 50 years and the trees are still there. So I'm hoping that when you do all this work, that you're gonna take care of the trees.
The trees are dead.
Oh, they're definitely dead.
We will take care
I
of
got
them.
pictures.
We don't want them falling in your house.
Okay, your guys know about it too. Okay, that was my concern with the retention basin. I just don't wanna see water running down using my
And
property.
we completely understand. We're doing everything we can to make it as good as possible while meeting the state
Yeah, like I
standards.
said, I've had the house for 50 years, so I know a whole lot about it.
Your spillway is directed away from, towards the,
Yes,
the
so
top of
there
the lot.
are redundancies in the design. We have a inlet grate that will take any additional runoff and send it into, there's a storm system running parallel to the rear property line. And then there's also yeah, it's here. So there's a storm system running along here. And then in this area, there's actually another valley that if this inlet can't accommodate it, it will run this way
Right.
to
I'm
another
in
inlet.
I'm in the smaller one here. I'm more towards the property, towards the ends. The drive-through looks and comes into, the lights go right into my windows.
Which we're also proposing additional evergreen trees to the
Because
rear.
they come right into my window. I don't care. But anyways, the biggest thing is, I'm right here, and this elevation is not that far.
Yes.
I'm very close, and of course, it's very difficult to hide. And I just don't want to see water.
I know, we are doing everything we can.
Because on Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock, I'm up there talking to the guy. He knows me.
No problem.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Louis Lopez, 9811 Drive, and I'm the very first customer when that opened several years ago. I waited there for 1 hour. I was the very first customer. Yeah. First is, when's the new sign? When's that gonna be at? The new Taco Bell sign?
So the existing sign is remaining. The existing pylon sign will remain.
Oh, cool.
Just get a new face.
A
updated.
So the sign's not, the freestanding sign along the road isn't moving. The building, which is shown here on exhibit A3, will have signage on the building, consistent with what you see here, generally speaking.
For that tree pond, for that green spot, that what that gonna be a pond or that gonna be the same? Yeah,
So-
yeah,
It will not be a pond.
okay,
It will be a sand bottom basin that allows for infiltration, but also discharges off-site. So there will not be any standing water, even though there currently is, because the basin is in disrepair currently.
okay, and the last two comments, I would like to see a common shop next to Taco Bell for the teenager and young youth to come, you know, to interact. And I said I like the floor plans. I was here at the last meeting. I recorded the whole thing. I read it, and I like the plan. I would like to see it go forward, and I would like to when everything is done. I would like to see that final part, you know, make a good use of it. I know it will take about a year or two, but I would like to see that spot full up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from members of the public? Yes, sir.
Pierre Ford, 117 Branch. What are they gonna do with the old Burger King building that's there? Did they ever thought about utilizing that site for this, construction?
Yeah.
The Burger King building is not part of this application. We're not equipped to address it.
I'm just trying to see how we can utilize a building that's not gonna be used.
That remains to be seen. But the applicant here, has not addressed that building, it's not part of the plan. It's not really requested approval. Okay? Other questions from members of the public? Public portion is closed. Madam Solicitor, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the dead trees and anything that needs to be trimmed, you'll commit to that as part of the.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
All right, very good.
So this is an application for final major site plan approval. The applicant has addressed some of the comments of the board's professionals and provided testimony. It's basically a by right application, so long as they show compliance here, which they presented testimony that they comply with all the conditions as modified or as outlined in the letters. They've agreed to the 2.5% affordable housing fee on the equalized assessed value of the improvements. They've agreed to comply or obtain the approval of all the expertise, exercising jurisdiction over the site, including Township's fire marshal. As to signage, if a new tenant requires different signage, that is not part of the approval under tonight. If variance relief for larger or more signs is required, the applicant understands that they have to return to the board. Given to work with the board's planner to enhance the landscaping, including the mix of some of the arborvitaes, evergreens, and have some removal of some dead trees and underbrush which is on the property. They've agreed to the extent possible, as to the new building, have it be a complementary style and color and finishings to the extent possible, given what different branding might be present for the new tenant. They'll do their best. They'll comply with the site, the stormwater management. They've addressed most of Mr. Alano's, they've addressed your questions for the stormwater management, correct?
Well, I mean, there's still a couple of minor issues to be resolved, but, you know, the major concern has been addressed.
Okay. They'll meet the state standards for that. There was a question, concern about the lighting. They're gonna address your questions about the type of sconce lighting. They did indicate it's not gonna spill out, I guess.
Right.
Okay. They'll provide information to Mr. Milano about the leaders, the connections
Thank you all very much, we appreciate it.
Excellent question.
If you could just, email electronic copies of these two exhibits.
Yeah, I'll take care of it, I have it.
Clarification on why this is on here at all. If it's already deemed incomplete
Yeah, we'll send it along.
earlier. I spoke to the discussion, you know, when I spoke to Jill, so I'm surprised it's on here or was discussed at all. And you mentioned something about it's a free idea.
I have a question. Tina Cliver, 216 Grant Street. Can we request when Grant Street is actually heard, that we get a microphone on the back? Because with the exception of anybody sitting at this table, and the attorney and such, we could not hear anything that you guys were saying in the back. So I think the last time you guys actually had a microphone up there, I don't see it today.
That microphone was specific for the report system that was here, and it's not meant to amplify anything. It's
Okay.
meant to just record the court recording and doing it.
Yeah, like we could hear you here and there, but as for you in the center there, could not hear you at all. Like if you guys, or if you guys could just project a little bit further, that would be great. The last time it was with fans. Thank you. The last time we had a lot of fans here, so I thought it would be better this time because we don't have the fans, we have the ACs, but still couldn't hear you guys at the very end there. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Louis Lopez, 98 Drive. Want to know if my friend's curious about that empty lot that Burger King. Are there any status of the new applicant trying to apply, like the new none? I sent a several email to that person, no response. I want to know if there have anything. Is there going to be an empty lot?
Louis, we haven't received anything yet, and it's gonna block them up here.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Richard Dell, 232 Rutland Avenue. I did have a question. I spoke to Jill earlier, and she was saying that the application 2023-3 was deemed incomplete, so it wouldn't be heard today. I'm just curious on why it's on the agenda at all.
Because they noticed.
Okay, so now, going forward, will the residents that are affected by this need to be re-noticed?
I said that earlier.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if you meant, noticed in the paper about the meeting, which is standard boilerplate, or something different. So I want clarity, and thanks a lot for that clarity. Thanks, Jim.
Other questions?
Yes, Richard Dow, 232 Rutland Avenue. I have to second what the lady behind me said. We were in the back row, obviously. We had to move up to the front row because I could not hear anything that any of you were saying, period. So this meeting does need to be held in a way that the public is able to attend in a meaningful way. And it is completely inaudible back there. It's not, regardless of anyone's age or conditions, I don't know how anyone could hear what's going on in this meeting. So we certainly hope that will be addressed. Second question, I don't know if this is off topic or not, but the discussion about the Burger King, I'm wondering, does the township have any ordinances specifically related to maintenance of vacant properties or vacant businesses? Particularly, I was at a business the other day, and I guess, I don't remember if it was a twin house, there was a business on the other side, but the lot next to it, it was very much overgrown with all kinds of weeds and shrubs and nasty looking trees. Invasive, tree of heaven, not really any kind of native plants you might want. So I'm curious, does the township have any enforcement that tries to stay on top of with regards of maintenance of vacant lots, particularly businesses? If the planning board is involved in that at all, or if that's completely handled through the council and code enforcement? Council and code enforcement?
And code enforcement, you take care of that, because there are ordinances that
There are.
handle that.
Okay, I'll be interested. I'll have to bring it up next month. Thank you for your time.
He worked on that a long time ago.
I'm Dan Wayne, I live at 10 Street. Okay, now I can't hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're getting the exact.
Sorry.
You can go forward, Chief. Go up too. You don't need to like stretch your voice out. This is a very poorly acoustic room.
My name's Dan Bland, I'm in town, just right down the street. I was brought to my attention of, June 2023-3,